Good morning. I hope everyone's okay. Today I want to go into a bit more about my story um, with vulvar cancer. So I was initially diagnosed with the cancer at the end of January 2023. That involved biopsies, seeing the surgeon, talking through the surgery, which I had in the March. I had 80% of my left labia removed and some lymph nodes from my left and right groin, which were all sent away for testing to make sure they had good margins. When the results came back in, it turned out I had cancer encapsulated within two of the lymph nodes that were taken from my left groin. That meant I then had to have treatments. I had 25 radiotherapy and 5 chemo over a 5-week period. That finished in the July. I then had checkups every 3 months. I was due to have one in February, but in January 24, which was last year, I felt the same sensations again, the burning, the itching, the soreness, the bleeding, and I knew the cancer was back. This time it was on my right labia and in the area between your vagina and your back passage, I think the perineum it's called. So I spoke to the hospital, asked if I could bring my appointment forward, went for the checkup, saw one of the registrars who thought I was there just for a checkup. As soon as he looked at me, he called the main consultant in, who's Mr. Nugent at St James's, who is goddamn incredible, and so are his team. And they immediately wanted to do biopsies there and then. They decided after some discussion that I was to go to my consultant's colposcopy clinic a few days later. So went to there, did some more biopsies. Bless him, gave me some extra anaesthetic to help with the pain, because I don't know if you've had biopsies down there. They fucking hurt really badly for a good few days afterwards. It is incredibly painful. Got the results back from that. Both areas were cancer. So went in for more wide local incision surgery to remove the areas. Couldn't get a good margin on the area near my back passage because it would have gone into my back passage, which is what it is. Then I was on the road to treatment again. I was going to have 25 more radiotherapy. There were discussions about having 5 to my vagina, but because of previous treatment it would have caused toxicity, so they were ruled out, and it was going to be 5 chemo again. So I went for my planning scan and realised something was not quite right. It was feeling very like it does when I have cancer. It's the pain, the sore, the itchiness again. Spoke to my treatment consultant, who referred me back to my consultant, and he immediately said, yep, you've got your cancer's back, we need to do more biopsies. So I'd have more biopsies, which was just, they don't get any easier. I'd say they actually get more painful as they go along. Ended up having more surgery in July last year. Sorry, I'm just getting kissed by Willow. Had more surgery in the July, and when he came to see me the day after surgery, he indicated that it's likely that the next surgery will be a bigger surgery, but wouldn't go into details because he wanted to have the results first, which I totally respect. But there was mention of the stoma because of it was in my back passage again and on my left labia area again. Obviously those results came back positive. Wasn't surprised, I expected it. What I didn't expect when I went for the results was the extensiveness of the surgery. I knew at some point, I've heard of women losing their vaginas and their back passage, but I thought that was way down the line yet. I thought we still had options. Thinking about it, looking back, I didn't actually have any options because by this point the cancer had spread very rapidly, and it's a slow growing cancer. It normally, if it does come back, it comes back in the same spot 5 to 10 years later. Mine was popping up in new places within months. I always like it's that game that you have at like fairs and arcades where it's like a gopher that pops up and you whack it with a mallet. It was like whack-a-mole I think it's called, yeah. So it was like that. I had to go for a PET CT and MRI to make sure the cancer hadn't spread before the surgeon gave me the full options and what would be needed. So we didn't really want to go into too much detail about the surgery, but he did say it was going to be very extensive and a very big surgery. That was shocking. I found out then I couldn't have radiotherapy because of the toxicity. Chemo on its own was not effective for this cancer, so this was my only option. Had the scans, turned out the cancer's not spread, it was still in that localised area, but it was literally from the start of my vagina, like my clitoris and that, right to my back passage. It was just the entire area was covered in it. So the surgeon had no option to basically remove everything, which is why I ended up losing my bladder. I lost my lower bowel, what's in my pelvic area. It's called the full pelvic exoneration. What I had a full on total hysterectomy. I lost my anus and my back passage, so I have a colostomy and a urostomy now for life, and that was hard to take in. It was incredibly hard. There were lots of tears, lots of talking, lots of trauma, which I'm still dealing with. I've been having therapy and counselling to get through that. I was in hospital in total after that surgery. It was a 12-hour surgery. It was supposed to be 8 to 10 hours, but ended up being 12. I was in hospital for 7 weeks, came out, ended up back in with dehydration and a blocked stoma in less than a week. And so in total, I actually spent 8 weeks in hospital. I had to learn to walk again. I was tube fed at some points. I was in intensive care. It was the hardest thing I've ever been through in my life. Still recovering now. I mean, the operation was at the end of October last year. We're now in nearly the end of March, and I'm still recovering. It's going to be a while before I go back to work. I have chronic fatigue. I have pain, discomfort. I lost half of my abs, so my other muscles in my abdomen have to make up and compensate for that. So yeah, that is more about me. I'm actually due for a checkup at the hospital on Friday. He saw me in December, saw me in January, and then said, oh, we'll take it to bi-monthly for now. But the most I will ever go without seeing my consultant is every 3 months because of the risk I have of cancer now. I don't want to know the odds of it coming back or any other cancer, secondary cancer I might get. I don't want to know. I don't want to give that number power in my head. I would rather think positive and focus on my future. The fact I now have a future is massive, and I am incredibly thankful for every single person that was involved in my surgery, my recovery, to now friends, family, professionals, medical people, counsellors, physios, everybody. I am beyond grateful for the NHS for saving my life, because if I'd not had that surgery, I'd have probably died this year. That was the simple thing, and I was determined to fight this every step of the way. So yeah, that is a truncated version of my last 2 years of hell. Sorry though the video's a bit longer. I will be doing a video later today with some of the questions that I've been asked. But feel free to please message me if you have any questions, or drop a note in my comments and I'll do my best to answer. Thanks.